People aren't going to answer. They're really, they're thinking that everyone's blasting them with AI robots these days. Like no one trusts anyone, I love AI, but it's harder and harder to stand out. And if you don't have this is my thing. If you don't have a personal brand and you're not using LinkedIn strategically to build real relationships, you're going to blend in like everyone else, which means you have an invisible sales team.
Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Mandy McEwen. If you don't know who Mandy is, she is a LinkedIn expert and founder of Luminetics, a LinkedIn training company that helps sales and marketing teams drive visibility and revenue. Her podcast is Your Future Business. Mandy, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Mike.
I'm super excited that Mandy is going to be joining me today. We're going to explore how to use LinkedIn to generate qualified leads. Now, Mandy, we have a lot of people listening to this show that are using all sorts of other platforms. Perhaps they're all over Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn to a lesser extent. But why should marketers use LinkedIn to attract quality leads? Said another way, if they really pay attention to what we're going to talk about today, what is the upside? What's the possibilities that they could unlock?
Sure. So LinkedIn is really the only social media network that is networking first, right? So it literally is for building relationships. And over the years, obviously, it has evolved. I was here, I don't know, a while ago talking to you about it a few years ago. And it's changed a lot since then. But it's the easiest way to start win-win relationships when it comes to revenue driving activities. So you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, very, very content heavy and less on the relationship building side. What we're talking about today is still content with LinkedIn, but the beauty of LinkedIn is when you have strategic content, it starts conversations a lot faster and easier than other social media networks because it literally is for business professionals to network and build relationships. So it has the best of both worlds with building your personal brand with content and also building relationships really quickly.
Now, when we were prepping for this, you said you had a story you wanted to share about how this led to some big opportunities for you. Do you want to share that story, your 10K story?
Yeah, for sure. So I have been posting on LinkedIn for over a decade now before I even created Luminetics. I had my agency, Mongrel Marketing. So this is not, or I have my agency still, this is not new territory for me. But we have getting more strategic over the years with the types of posts that we are creating. And I'm always testing out new formats and new structures of posts, et cetera. So we started switching things up and focused more on problem solution type posts recently. And it's funny because when you do that, it's not like that viral worthy type of content. So you don't get as much engagement, which is kind of annoying, but you can't worry about the vanity metrics. What does happen is you get actual leads that turn into revenue. So this is what we did just recently. We had a problem solution type of post, didn't get a ton of engagement, the worst one of the week, actually. And yet it led to 10K in pipeline in probably 8 days from that post. And with LinkedIn right now, with the algorithm, it's showing posts a lot later also. Like you'll see posts that show up from like 2 weeks ago organically, without even ads. So this is what's happening now. We have these very strategic type of posts with a very specific type of format, well thought out, pretty lame if you look at it. There's no image, there's no video, there's nothing to look at. It's just text very strategically, yet it's leading to more pipeline than anything else right now.
Love it.
Which is pretty cool.
Love it. And we're going to get into this and in detail in just a second here. So before we begin, let's, talk about, said another way, for those that want to do what we're about to talk about today, which is to create this content on LinkedIn that's really designed to get that qualified prospect to contact you or be interested in you. What kind of foundational things do we need to be thinking about? You've already hinted a little bit at some of this stuff, but I would love to kind of unravel a little bit about baseline stuff that we need to kind of revisit or reassess before we get into the details.
Absolutely. And this is crucial because anything I'm about to tell you is not going to work if you don't have the fundamentals in place. First thing is you need to know your ICP inside and out. So your ideal customer profile, your persona, who are you targeting? Who is the perfect customer for you? What keeps them up at night? What are their pain points? You need to be super, super clear on this. An easy way to do this is to look at all your past calls, take the transcripts, pop them into your favorite AI tool, and ask for the problems, the key points, the things that are noticing and coming up time and time again, right? Easiest way to do this. But you really need to understand them inside and out. Then you need to make your profile speak to that ideal customer. Talk about, this is the value I provide people and businesses like you, and results that I've achieved for people like you. That's the concept, right? So then your profile, your LinkedIn profile should not be all about you and how amazing you are. It should be a little bit of that, of course, because they need to trust you, but it should really be a mini landing page for you and your business, showing people this is exactly how I help people like you, and here's why you should trust me. So back it up with case studies, testimonials, etc. So those are really the fundamental things you need to have in place. And then obviously you need to have a legit offer. That's not what we're going to talk about on this podcast today, but you need to have a proven offer also for this to work, in a sales funnel. So you get the lead and then it takes them to the next stage. But before you even do that, those are the two important things: profile and really understanding your ideal customer.
Okay, so here's what I heard you say so far. Number one is we need to make sure we know who that ideal person is we're trying to attract. And we might get into that a little bit more. We'll see. And we need to make sure that when they come to our profile, and the keyword is profile, not page, that there's signals there that indicate that you are for them, right? And then, like you said, you need to make it look like almost like a miniature landing page. And then ultimately, you have to have an offer that, as you said, has been proven, meaning there have been people that have bought it before. You know, it's kind of tested and tried and true. And you need to have some sort of a process or a funnel to move them down so that ultimately you can bring them to closure. I love this. A couple things I wanted to talk to you about before, and just to back the train up just a little bit, the kinds of posts that so many of us are doing today are not the kinds of things that you've alluded to, which is the problem solution thing. So, and the kinds of metrics that we measure might need to change a little bit. So I just want to zoom in on that for a second. What's wrong with the way so many of us are posting today? And what are the metrics that maybe we've been misled by?
Sure. So most people, it almost seems like we're just posting for the sake of posting. And I know we've been talking about this for years, as we've both been in the social media industry for years. And that's just one thing that is a common challenge with people. They just feel like they need to get up content and they don't take the extra step to think through what is the intention of this content. So most people are just, here's a helpful tip, here's a new blog post, here's a snippet from a video, here's something random. They're not thinking about dissecting the root problem that their customers are facing and really digging into that and then giving them an alternate solution to solve that. They're not going deep enough in that. So it's more surface level stuff. It's like, oh yeah, this was helpful, cool. And then they move on to the next thing because they can't picture themselves in that exact scenario. So you're not triggering that emotional response of, that is me. That is 100% me. Most posts don't do that.
Got it. And then what about the metrics? You know, you kind of alluded earlier when you were telling the story that maybe, I don't know, the metrics that used to matter don't matter anymore because you were talking about engagement a little bit. So talk to me a little bit about what are the metrics? Do the metrics that used to matter still matter, which predominantly for us are going to be like views or whatever that number is, that total reach, right? And then comments. Are those the metrics that still matter when it comes to qualified leads?
Yes and no, because you have to have a good mix, right? So the impressions on LinkedIn, obviously that's what everyone is looking at, impressions, but that doesn't mean that impressions drive revenue. Now, you can't have the same type of post over and over again that are low impressions without mixing it up. So in some degree it matters because we need to have diverse content, some of them that naturally is going to get a lot of impressions because it's a certain type of post or format, and then those ones that are specifically for generating leads. And so it's a kind of a tricky question to answer because overall, I would say like, no. At the end of the day, the number of likes, the number of comments, the number of impressions doesn't necessarily equate to revenue. However, you have to be getting impressions and engagement and likes overall for you to grow your audience, right? Right. Obviously, there's lots of other ways to grow your audience, like reaching out to people and sending connection requests. But people get way too caught up in the vanity metrics, and that's all they're looking at. All they're looking at is impressions. The cool thing with LinkedIn analytics is you can actually see who visited your profile since that last post you made. What job titles are looking at that post? What companies saw that post? So there's all these different analytics you can get. It's kind of gauging, this is the right audience that's seeing my stuff. And to me, that's more important than the number of impressions, because you could get 1 million impressions on something and it could be customer service reps when you're trying to go after chief technology officers, right? So that doesn't really do you any good. You might get some followers, but they're likely not going to be in your target audience. So I feel like the most important thing is the types of people that are looking at your content. And then obviously the messaging, like the messages. Are you getting messages from people? And are they going to your call to action? If you had a link in there for them to fill out a form, are they actually taking that action? So leads in conversations. And then what we call dark social, which is stuff that comes up that you can't really track. And then later on, they might mention it. Right? Oh yeah, I saw your post. Oh, I love your video. Like today, I had a lead that I never engages with my stuff. And he's like, your videos are great. Like your videos recently have been really great and helpful. I'm like, interesting. Cause I had no idea you liked them because you've never engaged. Right? So those are like those metrics that I like to pay attention to. Like, what are people actually saying? Are they mentioning it? Are they filling out the form? Are they messaging you? Are they reaching out to you? That's the most important metric of all.
Love it. Okay. So back to the foundational stuff. You mentioned profiles, and there's plenty of people listening that are focused on pages because they work for a brand. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of the personal profile, and let's just go there for a second, because I feel like maybe that's like the opportunity for some people to catch something here that maybe is different than what they've been doing for a long time inside the business they work for.
Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn will tell you that personal profiles get 3 to 4 times more reach than, it might actually be more than that now, to be honest, than company pages. They will admit this. That's just how it is. That's how the game is played. They favor personal profiles. And the reason is because people do business with people, not logos, not company pages. So you're going to get a lot more reach when you're leveraging the humans inside your organization and not just your company page. With that said, do not neglect your company page. That would be silly. So continue to post on your company page and try to grow it, but try to get more people involved. Try to get more of them posting and reposting the company page content. But it's really, really important that you try to lift up your people in your organization and encourage them to build their own personal brands, because you're going to notice a significant increase in reach and visibility when you have individuals posting as well as the company page.
Perfect. Okay. So I feel like at this point, we've done a really good job establishing the foundational issues that, involve understanding who that ideal prospect is, utilizing that personal profile, making sure that you are not just doing the boring old things that you've always done, and also being open to the fact that the stuff that generates leads might not be the stuff that gets the most engagement, right? And it might not be the stuff that gets the most comments, and the most views, or whatever those metrics are. So now you've got this, you've introduced at the very beginning this story where you got the $10,000 prospect, and you mentioned that there was like this problem concept a little bit. So what I'd like to do is like unravel that a little bit. Let's talk about the concept of the kinds of posts that you write that seem to generate higher qualified leads.
Sure. So we call this the niche problem posts, the specific one. And what it is essentially we are calling out the problem and our ideal customer, and then we're digging a little bit deeper. So we like to do it as a little 80% problem, 20% solution is how we're kind of framing this, right? And then the goal, I already mentioned this earlier, it's literally to get prospects to nod their head. That's me. Like that's your main goal, is to be like, dang, yep, yeah, oh, yep. Like that's what you're trying to get. And so you're just really like digging in there. So you're calling that out, you're breaking down why that problem happens, and then you're lightly introducing your solution. But you don't do that until you really, really get to like the nitty gritty of this is the problem and this is why it's killing you right now. Right?
Do you have an example that you could share? Maybe something you've done for your business or for some of your clients, just so people can understand this?
Absolutely. So with me in our company, we have a program called the Modern Social Seller. And essentially it's from A to Z LinkedIn personal branding and social selling for sales teams. So we start off with saying, in this example, like cold outbound isn't dead, but it's definitely on life support. And the number one cause, a spray and pray approach that treats people like prospects or treats prospects like a list and not like people. And then we go on. And it's like, you think it's the right thing to do, but here's what's actually happening. And so we get into like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. And then we kind of say why it's not working. And everyone knows this language, the spray and pray. And then we get into the details of eventually someone suggests there's a better way, like LinkedIn, right? And then we kind of paint that of what that is. And then we kind of reintroduce it at the end. Because when you don't do something like this, you're doing spray and pray, which leads to an invisible sales team. So we're calling it something. We're calling the problem something. Go into it a little bit more. That's exactly why we built the Modern Social Seller system. A system that does X, Y, Z. Here's how, right? That's the short version. It's longer than that.
Oh, I like this a lot. So I think what I'm hearing you say is what I heard you say was a couple things. Number one, you said identify who that ideal customer is and name the problem. So I would love to I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, but something along the lines of spray and pray is what I remember,
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
You're trying the cold call. You made a declarative statement in the beginning, if I recall, like something
Yep.
isn't dead, but it's on life support, right? Cold calling isn't dead, but it's on life support. So that effectively, is that the way of like naming the problem? Is that what we mean by that? Or is that just a strong statement that's going to get the head nodding thing turned on?
Yeah, that's kind of the hook. So we had a bunch of different hooks for this same type of thing. Like one of them was your sales team's everything is basically cold outreach. Like the hook has something about cold outreach. That one was like outbound, like cold outbound, right? So it's dumping in cold calling with cold email, essentially is what it's doing. Mm-hmm. And people who are abusing LinkedIn in mail. And so another one could be your sales team's cold outreach is getting harder. Open rates are dropping. Replies are rare, So like each hook is a slightly different. Most sales teams think their team is scaling outbound. What they're really scaling, more noise, less relevance. And then it goes in. So the beginning is a slightly different, but it's saying the same thing. And because this is like a common theme right now, it's a trend for people to talk about cold calling is dead, cold email is dead. I'm trying to say like, look, cold outbound in this post isn't dead, but it's pretty much on life support. And here's why. So it's like literally the same type of thing I'm saying here can be said in 18,000 different ways with different hooks.
Do you have any tips on how somebody can figure out how in the world to do something like this? I believe you were telling me that you were using AI with some of the call transcripts or something like that to kind of help you a little bit. Like talk to people about how they can do this, because some people have no idea where to even start with something like this.
Sure. Yeah. Valid question. So we have built custom GPTs for everything, including this, so the Lumi Post Writer, which helps with this. And we have a membership, it's just $97 a month. And we do this for our clients. But if you can do this yourself too, you can literally pick whatever AI tool you like, get all of your transcripts, dump them in there.
Transcripts
give them
of
your
what?
website.
Transcripts of what exactly?
Transcripts of sales calls and customer calls.
Okay.
Because what we're trying to do, and then you prompt it, right? And you can literally just ask it for a prompt for this, and it will give it to you or Google it. Like there's tons of people talking about this. But essentially, like we're trying to call out certain things. Please read these last 25 sales calls, the transcripts, and I want you to identify common themes. What are frequently asked questions? What are the biggest pain points and challenges that come up? What are the patterns that you're noticing here? And it's literally going to dissect all of this and tell you, these are the patterns I'm seeing. This is the most common theme. These are the problems that people are facing. And then you could take it from there and kind of like reverse engineer this. Okay, these are the main problems. I'm going to go back to AI and ask it for, give me 5 different ways that I could call out this problem that's going to capture their attention. And you just keep having back and forth conversations with whatever LLM you use, whatever AI tool you use best, you can literally do this. And then it helps, obviously, if you're like, here's my company, insert URL, here's what we do, here's our solutions, I need you to help me tie this together, right? And then this is a process, right? This isn't something that, like I worked with someone on my team with this. This isn't something that I just like, I want to go to AI and 5 minutes later. no. Like we spent hours dissecting this with AI. So you guys still have to put in the work here. And I've been doing this for 15 years, right? I didn't just start my company yesterday. So this still takes time for you to really get to the heart of this is the problem, this is the solution, and this is very strategic, smart copywriting skills that are going to get them to be like, raise their hand and say, that's me. AI can help you, but it is a process and it's back and forth. And it helps if you have someone. Like I didn't do this alone, right? I had someone on my team and we got on phone calls, we got on Zooms, and we literally like went through it line by line. This is what we found. This is transcripts. Okay, what do you think about this? No, this is better. Let's try this. It was a process to get to this point. And now that we have this down and the templates, we can roll with it. And I can create posts and with my AI tools and this process we came up with in like 2 minutes, you know?
Love it.
But it was not that simple to begin with.
Love it. Okay, so we're talking about the niche. I mean, I always get that.
I think
niche problem posts, and we're going to mention your AI, how to get access to your AI tool at the end of the interview. But I love what I'm hearing so far. What I'm hearing so far is like these posts that we're writing are almost like mini sales pages.
Yeah.
Right?
They are.
They're really leveraging or mini scripts for a YouTube video or whatever. Like they're actually, but they're done in text, which is really cool, which means people can go through them extremely fast. And so far what we know is they start with a hook, right? And we know that they are identifying problems that are sourced from actual content with customers, right? Like telephone conversations with existing customers, customer support inquiries, salespeople, transcripts, dealing with objection handling, all that kind of stuff is great source material to kind of look for these themes. I love this. So at this point, we know we're going to write these text posts, these problem niche posts, and we know that we really have to have that ideal prospect dialed in, and we need to have some of those problems dialed in. But I know that this is just the beginning of the process. There's this next section, which you called symptoms when we were prepping for this call. So talk to me a little bit about this, because there is an art form, obviously, to what you're doing here.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you call it the problem and you're saying, this is possibly why it's failing, this is why it's failing, but I'm saying if you want to throw that in there.
Yeah, give another example give another example of what one of the problems are, because I know we went off on that AI trail a little bit. Just give a couple of examples of the problems, and then let's go into the symptoms a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm just pulling up like one of my examples here. So it's like, here's they're doing all the things, right? So it's saying your team's cold outreach getting harder. What's going on? They're doing all the things. They're sending this, hundreds of cold emails, calls, and mails, blah, blah, blah. But here's the hard truth. The problem might be the message or the tech of the rep. The real problem is you're still operating on spray and pray. Here's what it looks like. And then we detail what it looks like. So
the real problem, just so we're clear, you're calling it a name, in this case, spray and pray. But it could be anything. Like you're giving it actual name as if it existed for all time, right? I mean, is that kind of what we're saying?
But that is there's two names here. That is a name everyone knows. Okay. So that is something that like most people in the industry, in the sales, they know what spray and pray is, right? Because like you blast it out. So that's a name that everyone knows, but then I'm also calling it your invisible sales team at the end, right? So I'm not calling out invisible sales team in the beginning because I don't know what that is.
Right.
So I'm not naming it something till the very end, because then they could be like, yeah, she's right. Our sales team is invisible. But if I said that in the beginning, they'd be like, what is she talking about? But they know what spray and pray is. So I'm also using language. I know we talked about this also. I'm like, we're also using language that our buyers use. This is where the transcripts come in. This is where AI can help you. You literally need to tell AI, I want you to use the exact same words and phrases that my customers use. And if you don't say this to AI, they're going to paraphrase stuff and they're not going to give you back exactly word for word. So I'm glad that I thought of this right now, because you literally need to say, like, give me the exact phrases and words that my prospects are using on these calls. Yeah, and that is a phrase that people say.
Yeah. So for the marketing community, especially the social marketing community, the algorithm, would be like an obvious problem that you could talk about. Like the algorithm is repressing your reach, right?
Mhm.
And we kind of personify the algorithm as this like horrible algorithm that's out to make sure that everything you do is not seen unless you pay Big Daddy social media. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of phrases everybody uses, right?
Uh-huh.
And we personify the algorithm as the problem, right? Other examples could be like email. We call the spam traps, you know what I mean? Like the getting stuck in the Google spam or promo tab, right? The promo tab
Yes.
or the email hell. I mean, these are the kind of phrases that everybody talks about, right? And
Yep.
and you got to know what those problems are. But then what I'm hearing you say is you could relabel these problems as part of a bigger problem or an unseen problem, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes,
that's valuable.
exactly.
And when you do something like that, so if I was to talk about the algorithm problems and I wanted to relabel it, I could say the real problem is you've fallen into the promotional trap. I could call it the promotional trap. And it just so happens the algorithms captured you inside the trap because they knew you were promoting. Is that an example of what we're talking about? Kind of like
Absolutely. You nailed
reframing
it.
it into something that makes sense to the audience,
Hmm.
but kind of does that important reframe to help them understand that the problem maybe isn't what they think it is. Is that kind of where we're going with this?
Yeah. And we're really like dumbing it down too, Mike. So we're simplifying it also to where it's like we're simplifying it in a tiny little phrase with maybe just a few words where they're like, yep, that's it.
Even though
But
they've
you might
never
not
heard
hear
they've
that
never
phrase a
heard
lot.
those words before, but those words make sense in the narrative,
Yes.
right?
And then it makes you look like the expert because you're giving this a name. So it's like instant credibility and trust because they're like, well, this person obviously knows what they're talking about. They already have a name for this that I've never heard before, and it makes perfect sense. So you instantly have credibility too.
Yeah, kind of like everybody uses the word ICP now, right? Because
Yeah.
there was that they used to call them avatars, and before that they called them who knows what.
Yep.
So okay, so let's talk about the symptoms thing a little bit because I
Yeah,
feel like this is related somehow to what we've been talking about.
sure. You actually said some of the symptoms that I have in mind, right? So it's like, here's what it looks like, right? The real problem is, you're operating on spray and pray. Here's what that looks like. And then I literally list out what it looks like. Reps blasted templated emails to long untargeted lists. They sprinkle in personalization, like, saw you brought in a new CRO, but it feels fake because literally everyone's doing that right now with AI. Messages go cold, zero context or relationship. Buyers don't recognize the sender. It might be marked as spam or they ignore it. And even if they open it, they check LinkedIn and they see someone with no credibility and no presence. So they're not going to. So, and then that is like painting the picture before I get to the bottom of saying, you have an invisible sales team. Because I literally just told them that their sales team is invisible. That's why this isn't working.
Mm.
People aren't going to answer. They're really, they're thinking that everyone's blasting them with AI robots these days. Like no one trusts anyone, I love AI, but it's harder and harder to stand out. And if you don't have this is my thing. If you don't have a personal brand and you're not using LinkedIn strategically to build real relationships, you're going to blend in like everyone else, which means you have an invisible sales team. That's where this comes in.
Okay, so the symptoms part of this niche problem post thing is to kind of like identify a list of symptoms that might be like, for lack of better words, like when you're sick, you know what your symptoms are, right? You have a cough, you have a headache, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You identify the symptoms and you call them out so that they attract the audience that you want and repel the audience that you don't. Is that kind of
Exactly.
is that kind of what we're doing right here?
It's also to be like, yeah, that's right. Yep, our emails are not getting opened right now. Like it's for people to be like, yeah, that makes sense because it's happening to us. Because I literally hear this. Like I'm literally using the same phrases people are telling me every day. It's so hard for us to stand out right now on email. No one's opening our emails, and like, I'm like, well, what are you doing for personalization? Like, oh, we use this tool and it just says if they're hiring or like, it's like really simple personalization. And now everyone is like, is this AI or is it not? And so I'm hearing this daily. So I'm just throwing it back, their exact words that they're telling me into these posts.
So how much of this post is this kind of stuff? You know what I mean? Like, as I think through, like, I know I'm opening the post with some sort of a problem, like here's the problem with the algorithm, like your posts, your social posts aren't getting any reach anymore. And, and you think social media is dead, but is it really dead? Or is your strategy dead? You know what I mean? Outdated.
Right.
I just free float a little bit, right? That would work, right? Yeah. And then you start talking about symptoms. So in this case, I'm going to free flow. you need to promote your products, and every time you do, it seems like it's crickets. There's nobody there, right? And do I go through a list of these kind of things here? Is that kind of what I'm doing? And how do I know when to stop, and what do I do next? Does that make sense?
Good question. Yeah, because it can get pretty an exhaustive list here.
Right.
So I think we stopped, like I'm looking at all these posts we made that are following this. 5. The one that I just read with you is 5. Like I stopped at like 5 symptoms. Another one was 3. Another one was 5. So what I'm seeing is like we don't do more than 5.
Okay.
4. There's another one that's 4. So I'd say 3 to 5.
Got it. And these are just short little statements that we're making over and over again, right?
Yes. Yeah. And we just literally rephrasing it in a different way for a different post, but we're essentially saying the same thing. It's just said differently because then we can test which ones. I mean, not really, because there's a lot of different things going on, but you might be able to test which ones resonate more. But it's literally this almost the exact same thing in all these different posts. It's just said in a different way.
Okay. So once we've called out these symptoms, for lack of better words, by name in a way that uses the language of our audience, is there anything, what's next, I guess? What's the next part?
Yeah. So then, we call out so when we do that, that is when we can then call out most teams don't realize, but they have an invisible, or most, sales leaders don't realize this, but they have an invisible sales team because we just told them that they basically have an invisible sales team, then we're naming it. Mm-hmm. So that comes after like the symptoms part.
And that's where we're naming the problem. That's where we're giving a new name to the problem. Is that right?
That's the new name. Yeah.
How hard is it to come up with this new name? I mean, like, how long did it take you guys to come up with this?
It's funny you say that. It's like, it took a little bit. It took a little bit to come up with this. I'm not going to lie, because we were like, what can we call this? Where, I'm like, well, they're not visible. And he's like, invisible. I'm like, yep, you nailed it. It's invisible. Right. So it wasn't something that I instantly just like went to AI and I was like, what can we call this? This was from our heads. No AI included, but it took a little bit. We already had the name. So you don't normally want to do this. But because my product name, it's a curriculum essentially with multiple products inside of it. My product name is the Modern Social Seller or Modern Social Seller System, which is literally what we're trying to do for our prospects is take them from invisible to a modern social seller team. So we literally just named the solution, like the thing that they want, as our product name. That doesn't always work out though, right? And in that case, you're gonna have to come up with 2 different names. Like one, the issue that they have now, and then the thing that they need. It doesn't necessarily need to be your product name. It just needs to paint that picture of this is what you need to be doing, right?
Couldn't you argue it's actually better to not call it the name of your product?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this is my marketing mind. If you say what you need is social media marketing world, for example, well, then they're going to just instantly know that you've been promoted to. But what if you say what you need is professional development, and you need training? Like, let's just say hypothetically, you need to keep up with the latest and greatest of what's happening in the world of marketing and AI, right? And what you really need is you need an intensive professional development experience or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Or is that too specific? Because that's we're getting into the solution here. I've actually pivoted, haven't I? We're naming the problem, and I've already transitioned over to the solution. So
yeah, I think that was me though. That's because we were talking about the name.
Oh yeah, you did that. Okay, so hold on a second.
I did that.
So I'll take ownership. Let's back up the train a little bit. Well then, so we've got to name the problem, but we have to make sure the problem is not the name of our product. That's the key thing, right? So in this case, the problem is that if we're going with this theme that I just threw out there, the problem is that your marketing strategies are outdated, right? Or you're relying on outdated marketing strategies, right? And we could come up with a better name, right? Mm-hmm. But you could call it something as simple as that, or is that not good enough?
I mean, yeah, if you think it would resonate with people, then you can call it that.
Or you can make it a big ugly name. I can't come up with one on the fly, but it needs to be something that you could use over and over again, presumably, right? Ideally, it's a trap. I mean, that's kind of what I'm hearing from you. Like, if you have an invisible sales team, ideally you're stuck in some sort of trap that we're trying to personify. So if we can somehow use AI to help us personify this trap, right, or bias or whatever, that and we can help people realize I've accidentally stumbled into a pit. You know what I mean? That's probably the ideal situation. I'm free flowing with you a little bit here.
Absolutely.
But does that sound accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So then once we've called out that problem and we've like given it a name, what's next?
So a little bit after that, you might have a couple sentences or two that just kind of like drill in on that if you want. And then you introduce, that's why, either it's that's why we built XYZ, or that's why you need a blank. And the reason that ours is the same is because this isn't like a trademarked thing. There are literally people that are using this exact same phrase, like modern social selling, It just happens to be the name of the product, but it's because it's a broad phrase that people are using it. It's not like social media marketing world where it's just yours. You know what I mean?
Right.
If it was that, I would have never done that. So you're calling it something that everyone could be like, yeah, that's right. I need what in your marketing case, I'm trying to think of like what we could call it,
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you'd have
algorithm, something like algorithm worthy.
Or you need an algorithm buster strategy or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
Something along those lines, right? You need to bust
algorithm buster strategies, right?
You need a log jam algorithm, whatever. Yeah, but you can come up with it. But ideally, what I'm hearing you say is it should be something that you could use over and over again in all of your messaging, right? So you want to be careful and probably test it, right? Because if it doesn't resonate in your next post, you could name it something different, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and try to keep it shorter, right?
Okay.
So like 3 to 4 words tops, because we're going to repeat this over and over again. It might get kind of annoying if you pick something that's like 7 words long, right?
Right.
So try to keep it simple, like keep it stupid simple, like the kiss, like we always talk about. Like literally just simplify this for people so anyone can instantly resonate with it and they know what it is without them thinking, I wonder what they mean by that,
Yep. So then what do we do when we introduce the solution? Because this is where this is where I need your salesmanship a little bit, right? Because so many people do not like promoting themselves here, but somehow you've got to do a little bit of this here. And this is going to be the key to attracting the prospect, right?
Well, you also have to remember, Mike, that we're not just pitching ourselves. We're literally giving people tips on what they need to be doing to solve their problem. It just so happens that we do that, but they can go and do it anywhere else. So as an example, that's why we built the modern social seller system. And then we bullet point out what it is. Reps build buyer-facing profiles that create credibility. They show up before or after outreach, so they recognize when it counts. They post useful content that shows they understand their prospects. Outreach starts genuine human conversations instead of getting ghosted. So I literally just gave them 4 things that they need to be doing. So they can use our system or they can go do it themselves, basically.
So, but in this particular case, you're zooming in on desired outcomes a little bit here, which is an important copywriting concept, right? You are effectively saying this is the result of what happens when people, sales reps in this case, go through your program, right? Yep. They're writing social posts that are more designed to attract prospects. They are ... right? So it sounds to me as if like using some of those desired outcome phrases that might come out of your research would be important here. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that if you could use their words, that's even better, right?
Right.
And because they literally tell us that, like, yeah, their profiles aren't optimized. Oh, they're not posting content. Oh, they don't know what to say to prospects. They're really just spamming them, So we're just taking that same thing they're telling us.
Now, how are you ending this post? Is there a call to action? Is there no call to action?
There is a call to action. Yeah. Also, before the call to action, we're giving proof. So there's a bunch of I have like 8 different posts that are following the same format, and they're slightly different of where we're putting stuff in. But when I'm mentioning this, that's why we built this system. With this system in place, open rates improve, reply rates improve, I'm getting sales cycles shortened, et cetera. And then teams are seeing these results. One team hit 120% of quota consistently, quarter over quarter. One sales team tripled pipeline, created a culture of accountability. Another got 3 new clients, blah, 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 right? So we're literally calling out another bullet point of like result 1, result 2, result 3. So every single post of these isn't just us saying, you're doing this wrong, you need to be doing it right, listen to us because we're the best. We're putting proof in there. We named it something, we already look credible, and now we're telling you, when you do this way, doesn't matter if you hire us or not, but when you do it in the way I just told you that you need to do it, you're going to see these results, or people similar to you have seen these results. So before I get to the call to action, I paint the picture so they can imagine themselves at that finish line, like, oh, this is working.
Well, and then what is the call to action?
The call to action in this case is a landing page. So there's two different ones. One, send me a message if you want to see how a 15-minute demo of how this can work for your team. This one says, here's how to plug the system into your current workflow. And it takes them to a long form landing page that goes into more detail with lots of testimonials, but it goes into a lot more detail of what I just said. And it goes into our program details as well, but it just redoes what I just did in a more detailed way and shows them how they can work with us. And then it's a 15-minute demo, calendar link.
Now, a lot of people want me to ask this. Do you actually put a link inside the post or do you put it in a comment? Because isn't it true that if you put a link in a post, it's going to have less reach?
Yeah. So it's so funny. I just had this conversation before you and I got on here. LinkedIn literally just came out. Like, I don't know what his job title was, some leadership role at LinkedIn algorithm department, if you will. He was just on video not long ago, like a month ago, saying that we don't penalize posts with external links. We don't do that.
Do you believe it?
Exactly. If it provides value.
Oh, okay.
I will say this though. We've tested it. We've been doing this a long time. You will get a decrease in reach. However, it's going to be way better than what you're going to see if you put it in the comments, because people they're not going to go and sort through your comments and click on them. A lot of people aren't. So there's two things here. When it's a lead generation post, put the link in the post, period. Like that's my point blank recommendation. If you're trying to generate leads, put the link in the post. If you're just trying to get visibility, then don't put a link in the post. If you're just, because you can't have every post be a lead generation post. That's what we're focused on right now. Absolutely put the link, but test things out. You don't need a link in every post. Send me a message if you want a 15-minute demo, right? Like switch it up. But in this particular case, because I was making these organic posts with LinkedIn ads in mind, right? So eventually we promoted. So the 10K was organic. It came organically, pipeline. Then we promoted the post in LinkedIn ads. So these are meant to be promoted. That's why we have the link. If it was just organic, I do send me a message. I do both organically. So you need to test this out though. Like we already talked about testing. Like everything comes down to testing too.
Can LinkedIn, okay, side note, can LinkedIn ads be just text?
Can LinkedIn what?
When you make an ad on LinkedIn, can it be a text-only ad? Because like on
the
other platforms,
absolutely. That's what works better, actually. It's cheaper.
On the other platforms, you kind of have to have an image, which is fascinating.
I see.
Okay, so now here's the big question. Like, how long are these things on average? Like, are we talking like really long, short, like,
They're long.
Yeah.
The one I gave you, the example, the shorter one was 331 words. I knew you were going to ask me that, so I had it pulled up in word counter right now.
Okay.
It's 331 words. Some of them are a little bit longer.
That's not that bad. 300 words doesn't seem super huge.
No, it's not. But for like social media though, for people that are used to posting on Instagram and TikTok, they're not doing ones that long. I guess this one was 294. So maybe so I would say like close to 300 is like average. I'm posting these other ones in here now and I'm like, actually they're not too bad. They're all around the same. What's this one?
Are you
342
short paragraphs?
So I would say between 3 and 350.
Are the paragraphs really short too, like one sentence per paragraph kind
all
of thing?
Spaced, yeah. A lot of them are spaced out. Not every single sentence is spaced, but because of LinkedIn with scrolling. And that's why we do no image or no media in these, because we want them to not get distracted with anything else. We want them to read it and have no distractions, and we want them to easily be able to skim it fast. So we actually use a text generator tool. There's tons of them. You can go to like lingojam.com is one, but it will bold certain words and it will italicize certain words that we then paste into these posts. So when we're calling out the problems, here's 4 signs your sales team is invisible, whatever. Then we're bolding like the very first word or the very first, bullet number 1, it's like bolded. Then we go in a little bit more detail. Oh. Everything is like 1 or 2 lines together.
I didn't even know you could do that. Is that something that you can do natively on LinkedIn? Bold stuff?
You can't do it natively. You have to use a tool. You could literally like go in and type in like LinkedIn text tool, text formatter, and it will pop up. There's tons of free tools, tons of them.
Fascinating.
Yep.
So okay. So is this like, what part of your posting strategy now are these text-based posts? Like what's the percentage of the pie chart?
It's funny. So I'm glad you asked that because I'm a little like, I probably shouldn't, I'm like going to get on to myself now for saying this out loud. Like it needs to be once a week. And I have been so crazy busy the last 2 weeks that it has died because I posted all of them that we made. And then Dylan's like, you need to make more of these. I was like, I know you're right. And
So
I haven't.
Is this all that you're posting though?
No. I post more videos than anything, to be honest.
That's I'm looking for the pie chart. Like what percentage of your posts is this kind of stuff?
So here's ideally what it needs to be and what's going to start happening as of next week. It's going to be 1 post a week is going to be like this. And I post minimum 5 times a week. So I don't always post on the weekends.
1 in 5 is what I'm hearing you say.
Let's just say 1 in 5. Yep.
But if you're not posting 5 times a week, then maybe it should be 1 in 2 or 1 in 3 potentially, right?
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to get leads right now on LinkedIn, then you should be posting this weekly, in my opinion, but sprinkle it in with some other things because we also got to show the human side of you. Like I do a lot of posts showing me who I am, as a human. And that's what makes people, the organic people that led to the 10K, they were following me already. They knew who I was. Right. But I'm also getting leads right now. I'm also getting cold leads from these exact same posts, not just warm. So it's working for both warm audience that have been lurkers that were following me forever. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, I've been following you for years. And that post really resonated with me. And I was like, I've never seen your name before. Huh. Okay. I'm like, this is the post that got you to reach out to me. Like, that's fascinating because I've been posting tons of other what I thought was awesome content. Apparently not, and then new people that don't even know that I exist are also, this is working for them as well.
Love it. Okay. If people want to connect with you, I'm assuming LinkedIn is the preferred platform.
Yes.
Is there any other Mandy McEwens on LinkedIn or is it just you?
No, I'm pretty sure it's just me.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I haven't had to be one that
if they want to check out your AI thing, or some of the other stuff you've got going on, where do you want to send them?
Yeah, so you can test out one of my free custom GPTs right now. You can go to golumi.io/free. I know you can put the link in here too, but it's golumi.io/free. And you will get access to a lot actually. It's kind of a free program. Videos, checklist, and then one of my point of view GPTs that's amazing. So you can go and test everything out and then you'll learn more about how to get access to the rest of them there. Just reach out to me.
Love it. Mandy McEwen, thank you so much for sharing your behind the scenes, like how the heck you're doing this stuff. I know a lot of people are going to find a lot of great value in experimenting with it. Thank you again.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I've been posting long form YouTube videos every week. So at Mandy Mod Girl, if you want to hit me up there too. Pretty much any social channel, I'm posting weekly, lots of tips at Mandy Mod Girl. So pick your poison, whatever you like.
Which platform are they going to find you on for that one? Is it YouTube or is it Instagram?
YouTube, but I'm posting the shorts everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, like pretty much. And the handle is all the same, Mandy Mod Girl.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mandy.
Thanks, Mike.